wonder if who's going to be viewing it.
Yeah, I wish we could. Oh, it tells me how many viewers we have. So
Okay.
we're live right now, for what it's worth. That's the first part of the video. I can click on that to see the view too. Okay, well, hi everybody. Welcome in. Let's see, if I click this, it'll take me over to the YouTube. I'm just looking at it so I can make sure everything's working after last week.
All right.
Okay, we are so live. Okay.
Nice.
Well, Leah, it also says 0 next to eyes, but that's okay. They can watch it later.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. So, Leah, how on earth are you?
You know, it's crazy out here in quarantine, in the state of the world that we're living in.
Yeah.
But I'm doing good. I'm chilling, kind of working and chilling at the same time. What about yourself, Justin?
I too am struggling a little bit. Quarantine right now is difficult, but it's good. Taking care of Logan after she had ACL surgery. Just trying to keep the house clean and keep her fed and keep her happy, along with doing my own work and keeping myself happy, and all that is really hard. Oh, that's nice. Kent said that Justin smells, which he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I do smell. So thanks for that, Kenton. Yeah, so I mean it's fine though, and just trying to maintain happiness. But the McGinnises dropped off some casserole for us tonight, which was really awesome. So very grateful for them.
Very kind of them.
It was.
I had Chick-fil-A.
Ooh.
So basically the same thing as casserole from the McGinnises, but
it's pretty comparable.
It's on par.
What did you get? Are you a chicken nuggets or a chicken sandwich kind of gal?
I'm an 8-count nugget meal kind of girl. It's been my go-to forever. Sometimes I mix it up and I get the wrap,
Okay.
Wrap.
Yeah.
So that's a good move with the avocado lime ranch. Wow.
Yeah.
That is just, there's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it.
But I never get lemonade, and I got lemonade today.
The lemonade's so good.
Kind of bold.
Oh, it's so
it is good. It's kind of too sour almost. I know. Sorry, I said it.
This is a live Christian live stream, and you're gonna trash talk.
I'm gonna trash Jesus lemonade.
That's so funny. Oh man, yeah. Oh, I just learned that we can add sound effects. So like you just said that, and I can be like, "Yay!" and add some applause. How cool is that? Them. Oh well, it's there. Everyone else did.
I believe you. You'll do them randomly after, whenever I can't know. So
That's right.
Something really serious, and then you can be like, wah.
Insert fart noise or something. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. So Leah, what's the next event KXY has coming up?
Dang. Okay. So, sorry, I'm like pausing to burp really fast.
Sure.
This is really how it is. So the next thing coming up on Thursday, the next Mana video will be up on this channel that we've got here. Also, I realized that in the last email that we sent out about Mana, I thought that I put a link to the PDF note page. I didn't.
Ooh.
So it was anyway, it was a whole thing. But we're still figuring out our technology over here, people.
True.
But I'm going to attach that to the next email. So you'll have the note page from the first one and from the second one, just so that both of them you can have them both. And I didn't just do all that work for nothing. So look forward to that. We'll be talking about context. Mm-hmm. So get your pens ready, boys and girls. It's not going to be too lengthy or hard, but it's going to be really good. So hope you guys are there for that. And then after that, on Wednesday of next week, we're all going to the food bank to help out a little bit, bring a mask. That's from 9 to 12, right, Justin?
Mm-hmm.
So meet us there at 9 a.m. sharp.
Yes.
Bring a mask and your working hands.
And wear closed-toed shoes.
That as well.
Also important. And yeah, I think that's all for that event. I don't think there's any other specifics. But yeah, you have to have closed-toed shoes and you have to have a mask on.
You do.
And then the Sunday after that, so in 2 Sundays, so the 19th is what my calendar would say, We are having sunrise service.
Amen.
Which, if you're thinking you can't get up at 6:30, you're in luck. You have to get up before then to get out there by 6:30. Okay, and you can do it. It's one time to wake up before, and I'm not talking about 6:30 p.m. I know y'all been sleeping in forever because you're staying up till 7 a.m. anyway, playing Minecraft or playing Fortnite or playing whatever you play, right? Like, hey, they really still play. They really do be like that. But so be sure to come out. It's going to be at 6:30 a.m. at our normal fireside spot. We're going to have, it's like service not just for us, it's for your family. You know, it's like whoever wants to come, invite your friends, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, it's at 6:30. We're going to sing. We're going to have a sermon. We're going to take communion, the full thing. So be sure to come out for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And like I think it's a great thing to invite friends to as well, since it's open air. Everyone can feel safe. And I've been out there at sunrise before, and there's like no one there. So we'll have plenty of space to really give ourselves social distance.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Twill.
I'm pumped.
I as well. You know, Leah, do you normally wake up before 6:30?
No.
No.
Never.
But it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good time. Well,
so listen, what are we talking about tonight?
Tonight we are talking about who's gonna win the NBA final. No, we are talking about Christian identity.
We're talking about, is the NBA even happening this year?
It's happening in 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. So get excited.
Unless, just kidding. I would never do that.
They don't need to see me cry. So we are talking about Christian identity tonight. What that looks like, what it doesn't look like. And I think we're going to talk about it in a slightly different way, hopefully, than what we've kind of talked about before. Like, I don't think this is something you're going to be like, oh, I've heard it all before, right? You can turn this off. I think this is going to be engaging. And then we're also going to bring in a couple of friends to have them talk about what it looks like, you know, not being, you know, like a paid minister at a church, you know, seeing what it looks like to minister in the real world for them. And they're just really cool people that I think I'm excited for y'all to meet. So Leah, you go first. Talk to us a little bit about your Christian identity and your walk.
So, I always feel like just kind of the way that I approach stuff like this is always like, it's not just how I feel about it, but it's like, what does scripture say? And so, the verse, whenever I think about identity and like, what is my identity in Christ, I always go to 2 Corinthians 4 verses 5-7. And so I'm going to read through that kind of slowly, just so that everyone can get a good picture of what it says. For what we proclaim is not ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, with ourselves as your servants for Jesus' sake. For God, who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. But we have this treasure in jars of clay, to show that the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. So I think for a long time, my Christian identity was very much wrapped up in my family and in kind of my heritage. I'm the child of ministers. I have always been in the church, and I think maybe some of you guys can relate to that like this is all you've ever known. And it can feel a lot like I just believe what I believe because my parents believe it. And this verse really speaks to me on that part because, first of all, it doesn't have anything to do with me. So it doesn't have anything to do with how I was raised, with the family I was born into, whether that's good or bad. It has to do with the glory of Jesus Christ shining through me. That my purpose and my identity have been given to me, and would be given to me regardless of what family here on earth I'm a part of. That my personhood is separate from that. And so that's very freeing, but it's also it's full of responsibility. You know, I can't just sit back and relax because because I know I'm not tied to that. But also, it's like well, then I can do kind of whatever I want. Like I can do, if I feel called to something, then I can go there and do that. And I don't have anything holding me back. One of my favorite images kind of in the Old Testament that carries throughout the rest of the Bible is us as image bearers of God. And a lot of that is that's for some people, like that's all human beings. Every human being that's created is created as an image bearer of God.
Yeah.
What we do with that is up to us. And so if we choose to represent God badly, if we aren't following kind of like what Jesus has laid out for us, like if we're taking our own path and doing our own thing separate from that, then that's not being a good image bearer, right? But when we can live in the freedom in Christ and the freedom that Christ offers, then it's so much easier to come to that place where I know who I am. I know what I'm living for. So that's kind of my 2 cents, Justin.
Yeah.
How do you define identity?
So how do I find Christian identity? Well, I liked what you said about like with the parents thing. So I was actually in a chat with some guys that I don't know, and they were kind of like making fun of Christianity, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Hey, I'm a youth minister, right? And like basically one of the guys, these people I've never met, people I don't know, and he says, wow, like thank God mommy and daddy raised you in the church, huh? It's kind of like his opening line, just like, and the rest of us are just out of luck. And I was like, man, that's such a sad thought process. Not sad as in like pathetic, like I'm not talking trash, but sad as in a lack of happiness, and a lack of joy in that view of Christians, right? And for someone to assume that about me, that I'm thinking, I'm just blessed and better than you because of where I was raised. And that's why I think owning your faith is so important, to be able to just talk openly and freely about how you are experiencing your walk with God is the only way you're going to bring people into that. Like people need to see that you have a passion for it and that you enjoy it and that this is something that matters to you. If it's just, my family, we pray before our meals, no one's drawn in by that if they can't see your passion behind it and your intentionality behind it. And I like going to scripture for this. So 1 John chapter 3, verse 1. See what kind of love the Father has given to us, that we should be called children of God. And so we are. The reason why the world does not know us is that it did not know him. Man, to be called a child of God is so dope to me and so just like profound. Like it has a depth that's unattainable almost to like really get down to. Hi, Maylee. And hi, Nathan and Jillian. There were already all that said hi. But just really going into this, thinking of what it means to be a child of God. I just think that it feels so abstract, I guess, to find your identity in that. Because if you think about, at least for me, right? My dad is from Anson, Texas, which is the smallest small town in the world, right? Not really, but it is very small. And I've been there, and I've literally been there without my dad. And people would be like, you're Jim Campbell's boy, just by the way I look and the way that I act and the way that I talk. And I'm like, yeah, like, Jim. And they're able to tell me stories of Jim, and they're able to say, like, tell me stories about, Danny and Mary Ellen, which is my grandparents. So this might be a lot of information for the internet, but that's okay. And just, like, talking, like, people that know me because they know my family, right? And they know who I'm representing. And I think, similarly, when I think about being a child of God, it is a tremendous honor. But it's also an obligation, I guess, is that whenever I walk, I want people to be like, this is going to sound weird, but you're God's boy. You're like, you're part of that family. And they're able to say, I see that in you. I can recognize that. I think that's really important. And I think that filters into my identity as just, there's things that the Campbells do when we're together. We cry. We're a crying family, right? When things are good, we cry. When things are sad, we cry. Which, if you know me at all, that's not surprising, right? And it's like, there's things that Campbells do. But then there's also things that Christians do, and I'm stepping into that, not as like I guess I'll do this because Christians do it, but no, I'm going to show love to my brother and sister because that's what Christians do, and that's what people who are of Christ and are displaying God do. It looks like you have a thought. Yeah. Well,
that really made me think of something. I think that there's kind of this stigma or like this negative thought process around like whether or not you want people to know that you're a Christian just by the way that you act. I think that especially, I think of you guys who are at public school and like who live this life where it's like, well, not everyone around me is a Christian. And it's like, yes, and that's a good thing. Like you being held to a higher standard and also knowing like there's true joy in this way that I live my life. And if other people see that through me, then that's for the best. And as opposed to, oh, I can't do X because I'm a Christian. Like, I think there's a lot of the time there's that kind of mindset that we build for ourselves that like being a Christian means we can't do these things over here, instead of being a Christian means I'm free to live under a God who loves me, like a God who wants the very best for me.
Yeah.
And it is better at knowing what that means than even my parents are. Like that knows even more deeply than my parents do what is best for me. So that just made me think of that a lot, because it's like, that's how I want to be identified. And yeah, so I think that's really good.
Yeah, thank you. No, but then also I think that whenever, like, okay, so I'm gonna ask you. I'll answer the question for myself, and then I'll ask you, and then we'll bring Robert in. When I think about what are things that I practically do to show my Christian, like that, are me like making sacrifices to step into my Christian faith, right? An example is I was a senior in high school, and my youth minister and I were talking, and he was like, "How are we going to reach this kid?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. Like, I know that he is really into My Little Pony." And he's like, "Okay." Like we're both kind of like, "Okay." We're kind of the type that we hang out on Sundays and watch the football game kind of guys, which is usually different than your My Little Pony guys, which is fine. And he's like, "All right, let's do this." And so on a Tuesday night, I went over to his house and we watched like an hour of My Little Pony, and we started doing that like once a month, just so that we could come in on Sunday when that kid is there and be like, "Dude, I can't believe Rainbow Dash did this to so-and-so," right? And being able to talk through it. We're like, yeah, my normal identity, if Christ wasn't a part of it, would have said, "No, I'm not into My Little Pony. I'm not going to watch it." But because Christ has called me to sacrifice things for the sake of relationship, like what is an hour a month? That's nothing. Like how you get 24 in a day and you get 30 days in a month, right? Like that is such a minuscule amount of my time to give up.
Think about how much of that we already spend watching TV.
Right? Yeah. Like, or even like
just you and me, but
right. And like, well, and how much time do I spend? I would spend more time brushing my teeth in a month than an hour, hopefully. Right. But like, so I just think when I put it in that context for me, like it's good to sacrifice things. Jillian loves My Little Pony, right? And I can say Rainbow Dash because like that carries weight going forward. Even though that was years ago, I can now relate to some of y'all, and Ailey too. I can relate to y'all better because I've seen a little bit of it, right? Not much. We did it like 3 times. So I guess you got about 2 minutes here before we bring in Robert. What are some ways that like the rubber meets the road for you, where your Christian faith changes the way you act or has done in the past?
I think, yeah, a lot of it has become, how do I spend my days? What is it that's in the, like what's on repeat kind of in my head all the time? I would say in the seasons where I'm more in tune with the Lord and in walk with the Spirit, when I'm less so, kind of the track that runs is, wow, I'm really bad at X, or I'm not doing well at this, or I'm really self-conscious about this, or I wonder how people think or how people perceive me in terms of this. And there's very much a noticeable difference when I am in the Word, when I'm like in conversation with God all the time, when I'm around other people who also share those values. The track in my head turns from like, wow, I'm not enough, to like, how can I serve this person? Yeah. What can I do for someone else? How can I be thinking about, how I'm going to spend my week, and like, who can I be praying for? And so it's like, I lose kind of this sense of, it's about me and how how I need to change myself and more about what are the good things that I can be doing. And so I'm very much freed from the self-consciousness of normal, like being like normal human thoughts, I think.
Yeah.
So it's not like everything is perfect in my life, or that like nothing ever goes wrong, but that if stuff does go wrong, I think differently about it. I think that's when we talk about the rubber meeting the road, that's a lot of it for me.
Yeah, I love that. Man, I relate to that so hard. Like I can just feel, it feels like everything is so different when I've spent time around people who love me and that I love genuinely. I just feel so much better about everything, whether it's, everything. I'm a better husband. I'm a better person. Like every part of my identity is better when my Christianity is in a good place. So I like that a lot. Well, without further ado, let's bring in good old Robert Brown. Let me figure out, just make sure I know what I'm doing here. Let's X out of that. Here we go. Robert?
What's up, baby boy?
Hey, my man, oh, here comes the video. There it is. What's up, baby boy?
How are you?
I'm good, man. You are live to the youth group, and this is Leah beside you, my intern for the summer.
Well,
nice to meet you, Robert.
Man, Robert, it's so good to see you. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good. Raising two crazies.
Yes. Yes, that's a good little intro. I like that. So go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you work, what you do, where you live, where you're from, all that good stuff.
All right, so born and raised Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah.
I'm back living here in Lubbock. I work at Brookdale Senior Living as a sales manager. I've been in long-term care for 5 years, have 2 kids, 3-year-old, 1-year-old, and I'm married to a red-hot smoking wife. That's about it.
Okay, I love it. Yeah, and how long were you and Michaela together before y'all got married?
5 years.
Yeah, y'all were together long. Y'all were like high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it. Leah, you want to ask the next question? It's very important. It's probably the most important question we're going to ask.
Justin's wanting to know, what is your favorite memory with him?
There's a lot of memories. Let's see.
What's the most embarrassing memory with Justin?
Oh, come on.
There's also a lot of those. The most impactful is probably Dynasty.
Yes. Yeah.
And him being in my wedding and me being at his wedding. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
But college, I think we knew we knew who each other were, I guess.
Yeah.
We were friends, but staying up, not doing homework, and playing late at night was where our friendship kind of flourished. So that's a pretty big memory.
I just want to go ahead and share this. One of my youth group girls said, "Wow," with a red heart at you. So I think she's, yeah.
What? Okay, well, get off.
That's good. That's good. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, man. Well, I was just thinking about, whenever I tore my ACL, and when you and I kind of went from like friends to brothers,
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Good times.
That's friendship, man.
Yeah, Justin couldn't get into a shower on his own at the time, so had some help from my boy Robert. All right, moving forward. What is one of your favorite memories from high school or middle school?
High school, probably sports.
Yeah.
People are going to say that one. And then I met Michaela when I was a senior, so that was pretty impactful.
Some would say.
So probably those things.
What sports were you in?
I played basketball for 2 years and then baseball all 4 years.
Nice.
He wasn't good, though.
Well, what can you do?
He's the best.
Okay, so we also wanted to ask, we know you're a sales manager at a home health care place. Yes.
An assisted living.
Assisted living care place. Yes. So what does a day in your life during work typically look like?
So the day-to-day stuff is usually following up, calling people, checking in with families who are looking for their loved ones. That's the work part of my day. I have some fun too. So I get to love on residents all day. I get to see them. It's like I have 70 grandparents, which is because I get to know. I mean, my grandpa died when I was in 3rd grade, so it's pretty cool that I get to interact with those people. Selling apartments is what gets me money, but being with them is why I'm there.
Yeah, for sure.
That was well said. I like that a lot. So when did you decide that you were going to do that?
Well, have you ever taken physics?
I failed it.
Dude, it's hard. When I was in college, I was going to be an athletic trainer. Had my life just planned out what I was going to do. And God was like, not today, man. So I was interning at a physical therapy clinic and saw a lot of senior citizens coming in with recurring injuries just because they were sedentary, not doing much, and just sitting around at home. And that's kind of when God put it on my heart to help them in a fun way to exercise, not even realize they were doing it. So when I started, I was the activities director, and my career grew from there.
Yeah,
that's cool. So we're gonna throw this word at you because what we've been talking about is identity. So in terms of, you could put this in terms of your job, or you could just mean in general. What does the word identity mean to you?
It's who you are, not what you do. That's I am a sales manager and I work with seniors. I'm someone who loves people, loves God, and I'm a friend, I'm a brother. But, mostly it's just who you are, I think, opposed to what you do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be caught up in the material things. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I love that a lot. And I don't know, that's just so evident in you too. Like, you attack life so hard, and it's so cool. Like, one day on Facebook, you're proposing with a ring pop to one of your residents, right? And then the next day you're coming home and you're like business attire and jumping into your kid's kiddie pool, right? Like, in your attire. And I think that's awesome. Yeah. Like, you just absolutely putting everything you have into that identity of what, like what you want to be, and you're always like, that temporary smile for my kid is worth it. It's worth my clothes being wet for a little bit. And
he wanted, but why not, man?
Yeah.
I don't half butt anything, full butt everything.
2 cheeks. Okay.
Awesome, I think.
I love that, man. Okay, so how do you see your calling reflected in your job? Which you've kind of hinted at already, but can you elaborate on that a little bit?
How do I feel my calling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting to see, let's see. No one wakes up no one wakes up and says, you know what, I'm going to buy senior living today. No one does that.
Yeah.
I think my calling, is being a light in their life and being able to see them happy and love where they are, even though it's under, circumstances out of their control.
Yeah.
So I think seeing that reflected in my job is just being able to goof around with the residents and selling them care over a real estate. So I'm not selling them a room, I'm selling them safety and things like that.
Yeah, we just moved my grandma into an assisted living place back in November. And I still remember the conversation that we had with the manager there. And just the way that it was immediately evident, this is someone who truly cares about the people who live here. And he was the associate pastor at the church that the care place was on. And so he moved from that job specifically to that position because he loved those people specifically. And I think that like that makes an impact on people. And so I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can tell when someone's there for a paycheck and when someone's there for the right reasons. So
yeah,
definitely. Some days I'm like, oh man, I gotta go to work. Most days, like I get to go to work because tons of grandparents. Everybody loves that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
How would you say your relationship with Jesus has affected the way you see what you do?
I don't want to be cliche, but just being able to love people, man. I mean, I can love them the way that he loves me, but because I think about it as children and seniors are probably the most underappreciated people in this country. So I think being able to love them, just a smile, just a hug, something, loving them because I'm able to.
Yeah.
That makes any sense.
Yeah, that's good.
Makes a lot of sense. Man, so this is off script, okay, this wasn't part of it, but I want to ask before we kind of ask one of our closing questions is, do you have like a good story of something like hilarious that has happened or really impactful that has happened or just like a quality story from working there?
I have a story from my first year.
Sure.
So there's this woman, Joy. She actually just passed away, which is sad, but she lived in College Station, and she had dementia, which is my passion. And I'm just loving on her, and we're talking, and she sees this flower outside, and she says, "That's a really pretty flower." So I went and picked it for her, and I came back not even 10 minutes later, and I was like, "Man, Miss Joy, that is a beautiful flower. Where'd you get that?" She said, "Some boy gave it to me." She said, "Yeah, my boyfriend." I said, "Your boyfriend?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Is your boyfriend tall?" I said, "Is he handsome like I am?" He's handsome. They have a foolish sense of humor? Yes. I said, "Miss Joy, am I your boyfriend?" She said, "You sure are."
That's so quality, man. I love that so much.
Man, this is awesome.
Yeah, man, I love that. Golly.
How have things, this is also like not too scripted, but how have things kind of changed since you?
Since COVID?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because I started this new job in May, so it's just the whole different. It's weird though because the residents don't get to see their families in person, which is hard. It's hard on the families, it's hard on the residents, it's hard on the staff, because a lot of residents get angry about that because they're thinking, why can't I be an adult? I've been an adult for the past 7 years. Who are you to say I can't do what I want to do, right? So it puts all of us in a hard position just with state regs and things like that, rules and regulations that we have to follow, but getting easier. So, and we're doing some different types of site visits with, social distancing and wearing masks and things like that. But I hope it's not the new normal, but I'm afraid it is. It's just changed the way we just really do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but you gotta roll with the punches.
That's so true.
You do.
You do. All right. So, as we kind of close it out, if you could give any piece of advice to students who are watching right now about their lives, what would it be?
Let's see. I'm going to pull something out of when I play baseball, okay?
Let's go.
You can control your attitude and your effort, all right? That's all you got to – everything else is going to come as it goes. The way you treat people, the way you act when people talk to you, and the effort you give, your job, your relationships, the way you love people, you can control those things, and everything else is kind of, you can't control. But you can control the way you treat people, and you can control the way you work.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's really good.
Good.
Hey, my man. Golly, I love you a lot, man. I miss you. I just want to say, really like I could have asked any of my friends to do this. You know what I mean? And I asked you because you are such, your devotion to your wife is incredible. The way you father your kids with patience, but also with like, I don't know, intentionality is really, really impressive. Our friendship, the way you've kind of maintained friendship with me despite whenever I lived in Ohio and me living down here now is something I'm really grateful for. So love you, love you, my man, a lot, and I really can't wait to see you again. Thanks for making time for us, man.
Yeah, man, I love you too. I honestly thought when Michaela was like, "Why does Justin call you? Is Logan pregnant?" I'm like, I don't know.
No, not yet.
Like,
That's so funny.
All right, man. I love you. I'll talk to you later. It's nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, Robert.
All y'all at home. Peace out.
See you, man.
See you, man.
That was Robert Brown.
Yeah. It's like, this may not have been his intention. It's such a good reminder, I think, for us to think about, and even in the context of identity, and like you were talking about with sacrifice, thinking about the older people in our lives that maybe we don't see as much. That's so huge. Mm-hmm. Reaching out to them, even and especially during like times like this that are really hard. Just a phone call. It's really good. Yeah.
No, obviously he doesn't put stuff like on Twitter or whatever, but his Facebook stuff is just, it's just awesome. It's just always joy. Like, it's never just something that he's mad about. What are you mad about today does not apply to that guy. He's always just been so funny. And it's hard to have like the vibe that me and him had. Like, we hung out and played this dumb video game. It was me, him, like 6 other guys. We did it every night pretty much for like 7 months straight. Like, our girlfriends would be over at this apartment, like all of us would just be there hanging out. And like the one time it was a college football video game, and there was a big game going on between him and Chase, and literally 45 people came to watch that game in one small apartment. Like, it was awesome. People brought food. Like, it was like a Super Bowl party, which probably means that we were all like need to get lives, but just really grateful for him. And I don't know, it's cool to talk to him a little bit and letting y'all kind of see just, I don't know, how he lives his life intentionally despite not being, in church work necessarily.
Yeah. I definitely, I agree with you. I think when we think of the word ministry, sometimes that's like, oh, that's just the people, this is my soapbox forever, but that's just the people that are working at the church. And it's like, no, all of us who are part of the church are called to be ministers of the church.
Yeah.
In whatever way that looks. And so it's easy to like forget that we are empowered to do that. It's a good reminder.
Yeah. And and how cool that he's in sales. Like, he doesn't have to be out there with them doing all this stuff, right?
Exactly.
But he does.
Yeah. And
I think that just speaks to, like, within Christian identity, like, you can be as impactful as you want to be.
Exactly.
There's
always going to be an excuse to not do it.
Yeah, always. It's like, I like what he said. You can control your attitude and your effort. Everything outside of that.
Yeah.
But how you approach that is all up to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is really, really cool. Man, that was so good, man. I just haven't talked to that boy in a long time. Let's see. So if I guess we can call Ellie. It's friend number 2. It's like 2 minutes before I told her I would call her, but I'm sure it's fine. Oh, we'll wait 2 minutes. We'll let her. I don't want to call and her miss the call.
We could ask for questions from the comments.
Yeah, any questions for us in the comments, or if you have a statement in the comment. If you want to try, Maylee, if you want to try a pickup line on Robert, you could. She gave the red heart. It was really funny. She said, "Wow, baby boy."
Also, just want you guys to know that we miss you so much. It's been really hard, like, not being able to see you and not being able to do TNTs the way that we had originally like formatted them and stuff. Yeah. And hopefully we're gonna be able to get that back up and running very soon. But that's just from me. I really miss everyone.
Yeah, y'all are so loved. Prayed for, sought out. Maylee doesn't think that's funny.
Maylee, I love you and I miss you.
Maylee, I love you and I miss you too. Okay. Jillian said she misses us too.
Really, we miss you.
Maybe.
Also, I can't see any of the comments, so Justin has to read them off to me.
True. I can be specific with it. Melee said, I miss you too, Leah. Which seems a little hateful, a little spiteful towards me, but loving towards you. So that's
I said it first,
sweet.
so
Yeah. That's fair. I just piggybacked.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Enough of this. Let me call good old Ellie. Let's see. She called me. I figured I could just call her right back. Let me text her and tell her to call. I think I can do that.
I think it's so crazy how Zoom really took the lead during COVID in terms of what people are using to like FaceTime and stuff. I'd never heard of Zoom before quarantine. Like it was Skype all the time.
Yeah, just which is crazy because I never Skyped. Like I was using Zoom.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I Skyped when I was like a senior in high school, and then by the time I was in college, Zoom is what we were rolling with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone's living a different life. That's what I'm learning tonight.
That's the main lesson.
Christian identity is not wrapped up in which FaceTiming software you use. If you walk away from anything tonight, that's what you need to walk away with.
That's so true. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I found her.
We're getting it set up, folks.
Add. Okay, it's working on it. Hey.
Can you see me?
Yes,
Yep.
Ellie.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Leah, you are motionless on mine. There you go.
Still. Ellie, I think you met like one time.
Really?
Yes. At Darren Peters's house at Thanksgiving, like 2 years ago.
That's funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
We probably did.
But I'm good friends with your brother, and so
Aw, that's nice.
I love Grant.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy. Well, Ellie, it's good to see you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, where you are, which has recently changed for you, and where you're from.
I'm from Amarillo.
Yeet.
I just moved to Portland like 5 days ago.
Portland, Texas?
No, Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous.
And I moved here from a little bit around the Salt Lake area in Utah, Salt Lake City. So yeah, I just moved here and I have no job.
But Portland is the best city in the world, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's nice. It's sunny right now, so ooh.
So good. Leah has a really important question to ask you.
What is your favorite memory with Justin?
My favorite memory of Justin is whenever it's a loud car. Whenever we were skiing, or he was skiing, I don't even know if I was there, and his legs got cold, I think, so to fix that, he put snow into his ski boots.
And how did that work out for me, Ellie?
They turned colder and red.
Yeah, it's real sad. They were super irritated and they hurt so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, I hate skiing.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
And every time I go and see the Cornets, y'all bring it up.
Because it's so dumb.
Like, your mom wasn't even on that trip, and she's the one that always brings it up.
It's so funny.
It makes me so mad. So funny. Hey guys, while we're talking to Ellie, I should have said this on Robert, but I just forgot. If y'all have a question y'all want us to ask her, feel free to comment that, and we will throw it up there and ask it to Ellie as well, as long as it's in the realm of what we're talking about somewhat, right? So, give us one of your favorite memories, Ellie, from high school or middle school.
This is not my favorite memory, but it's what my brain thought of. One
Sure.
time I put on my pants that I wore the day before, and I was like in class in high school, and I looked down and there's like a lump in my pants, like on my leg, and I was like, what's that? And then I realized it was my underwear from the day before. And I had to figure out how to get it out of my pants. So horrible.
Do you remember when you told me that story?
No.
Because you told me that story, and I just started laughing like harder than ever. You were like, "Why are you laughing so hard?" I was like, "Because the same thing happened to me in 4th grade." I just had to sneak them out and throw them away.
My favorite memory from high school.
It's the quality, man.
Oh man.
So Jillian said, I think she missed it. She said, "Where is Ellie at right now?" So
I'm in Portland.
yeah, Portland, Oregon, which is way far away from here. So sad.
If anyone has talked to me, that's where I want to move and live forever because I love the weather and the trees, and I have family there, and so it's my favorite place in the universe.
Oh. Someday I'm gonna go see Ellie.
Yeah, come on.
Got it. Okay, Ellie.
Yeah.
So right now this answer might be different, but what does a day in your life during work typically look like? Which, LOL, this is funny because
Unemployed.
yeah, you're unemployed.
I'm not unemployed. I'll pretend I'm still working Wilderness. So when I'm
Yes.
working Wilderness therapy, if I was at work, I would wake up, and there were like maybe anywhere from 3 to 12 kids, like all guys or all girls. Usually guys, like high school boys. And we would wake up and pack up stuff and go hike, and then sometimes we would hike in the night because it's too hot in the day. Sometimes we would carve spoons, make fire with a bow drill, just do lots of things like that. And then I would also like lead therapy groups and do like sessions with them.
Nice.
Yep,
That's good stuff.
in the desert.
Did you say y'all made spoons?
Yeah, we would like carve them out of wood.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
We also made packs out of sticks from trees. Like we didn't have like actual packs. We'd like make them out of leather and trees.
Are you serious?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm so serious. I can send you a picture sometime.
Yeah, please do. That's so awesome. Gosh, look at you. So many cool talents.
New skills.
It's a great party trick if there's ever just some trees and some leather around.
How did you decide that how did you take that job? How did you find it?
I always thought about wilderness therapy and thought it would be cool because I went on backpacking trips as a high schooler and liked it, and I just being around people for that time, being there for a week or whatever, and just getting to know people really well. So I just applied and I got a job, so I went to the job.
There you go, easy peasy.
Yeah.
Oh, let me add this on. Maylee says, "Tell Ellie I love the free spirit." So she can already tell that you have a free spirit and she likes it.
Oh.
So that's nifty.
Oh.
I like that. So when did you decide, I guess, you said you always had a passion for it when you were in high school and stuff, when did you because that was a long journey from high school through college to getting to there. Can you kind of walk us through that journey?
Yeah, I just liked, in high school, I guess, the being outside thing, seeing God in, intricacy thing. It's a big deal. And then also some component of it that I as I got older that I liked was, something about just being really human thing to do, go outside or whatever, just get to laugh a lot and, also, face hardships together and, have to talk about it and talk about times when you do things you don't feel proud of or, times you hurt people in the group, just because that's something that happens when you're together all the time. And just having to, face those parts of yourself. That's all stuff that as I got older I appreciated more, and also I think why I also, valued my job a lot because it wasn't, all kids, how in high school I went, it was youth group thing, and everybody wanted to be there, and at my job the kids mostly don't want to be there. So there's more edgy rough stuff to that, and I really appreciate that honesty. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Maylee has a question for you as well. She said, so do you associate God with nature?
Yeah, I do. I feel like it's hard not to. It's kind of like the same thing a lot of the time, really. Like when you think about it, like you couldn't ever make anything the same exact way, no matter how much time you had or like materials you had. Like you could never really replicate anything, I don't think. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, no, I like that a lot. That's cool.
Maybe kind of going alongside that, how do you think that your identity has been formed by the things that you do or the things that you love? Like, what does that mean to you?
I think a lot of people in social work are in social work because they like to help people, and I don't think I do. I think I'm in social work because I like the contrast between like good times and bad times. I like seeing like people who are struggling, like see their like humanity in that, but also like all their strength, and that's really inspiring to me. I don't really feel like I get a lot of my identity from that. I feel like my identity comes more from like feeling like I have enough, like just because I could rant about this for a long time, but basically like I think that with God it's like this thing of having light in you instead of longing, and like because of that you're able to kind of like shed off this like thing we're raised in where you feel like, oh, I need this, or like I don't have enough, or like I'm insufficient or whatever. And you can like shake that off and like you have everything you need inside of you already. And so yeah, I just like feel really good about that most of the time, but I do still have times whenever like I'm like, oh crap, like like I'm sad, so I'm gonna like eat some junk food. Like
Yeah.
Even like with other people, like feeling like frustrated with them because I don't feel like I'm getting my needs met, and then it's just like this thing of like having to just remind myself that like God got in me, and like I'm actually really small of a person, and like that's all I need. It's just like to have God inside of me to help. So
yeah. I was like listening to I talk about this a lot, but like this one podcast that I listen to all the time, they were discussing like why is it that we have that longing, and like why do we long for things, and like why do we have nostalgia and stuff like that. And they were just talking about like not making an idol of the nostalgia itself, like being okay with saying like there are good things in this world and I can enjoy those good things, and like that is okay.
yeah.
And but also, and there are also bad things, and like they come part and parcel with each other, like kind of how Ecclesiastes is like there's time for everything under the sun. But then realizing, yeah, like you said, at the end of the day that longing will always be there a little bit, but also like we are still fulfilled like through the things that we're already given. I really like that.
Yeah, I like if y'all know of the book Tuesdays with Maury.
I love that book.
And Maury is like talking to Mitch, who's like the writer of the book, but he's like, Mitch is like, how come you're like, are you jealous of me because I'm like in my 30s and like you're old and about to die? And he's like, no, because like I've been 30 before, like I know what it's like to be 30. Like 30 and 50 too. And like that's something I like to think about, is like I have like good experiences, and like I'll always have them because I always will like hold them with me, but I don't have to like wish to be there again or like want to recreate it, because like there's so much more to come in your life.
Let's go. That was so good. That was preaching. That was awesome, Ellie. Thank you for that. So let's talk a little bit about what does identity mean to you? We haven't talked about that yet, I don't think. What does identity mean to you?
Like just the word, or like who I am, or
I guess like the word identity. Yeah, how do you experience the word identity?
I think like it's something that if you're not careful, you can get too caught up in thinking about it, and then you stop being yourself.
Yeah.
That's something I've learned just from moving around a lot. Is like the more that I just do things and like am myself, the more I stumble into situations that are make sense for me, and like I meet people who like appreciate me for who I am, rather than like me being like, oh, I have to be something for this. And I think it's just like doing it, really. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And like also trusting in God and trusting in God in you, and like trusting that goodness in you, and like being sure not to betray that whenever you're doing things. Like always keeping yourself in check as far as like betraying yourself, betraying God inside of you. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that a whole lot. Like, especially as someone else who's moved across the country a couple of times and stuff. Like, it is so hard to not be like, I want to be cool, or I want to be funny, or I want you to see me as an adult, or whatever it is, you know, and instead of just letting myself be myself. So I really relate to that really well. So let's go to this one. How has your relationship with Jesus affected the way that the way you see what you do?
I think like seeing what I do like in my day-to-day life, or like my job, or
Sure.
Yeah,